Welcome back. Reminiscence is on display at the Tamsin Gallery here in Santa Barbara.
We're joined by the exhibit's artist, Chabanol, to hear more about her new body of work. Good morning, and thank you so much for joining us, Lowen.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Before we hear more about Reminiscence, we want to hear a little bit about you, about your background, and about your background as an artist as well.
Well, I always have been painting since I was little, and it was just the only way I was able to express myself the best way, because I was a really shy kid. And when I hit 12 years old, I went into painting more because I lost my dad in a very tragic accident. And then painting became an exit for me for the rest of my life. So this has been something I had to do no matter what. Although I went into other careers, I became a model. At 16 years old, I won a contest with the Elite Model Management, and then I traveled the entire planet. But I was always painting and creating art in between when I wasn't working. It was a way for me to have oxygen, I would say. And as I'm, going along in life, I feel like this is, for me, a necessity to do that. I have to do this.
Yeah, everyone needs that kind of outlet, especially when you go through something so tragic, which we're so sorry to hear about too. But you turned that into a great way to, have that outlet for yourself and cope in that way.
Yeah, I mean, this exhibition in particular I had done 4 exhibitions before, 2 in New York, 2 in Los Angeles. They were always about what I was going through in my life. But this one is a very specific segment because it's really when my father passed. He had a tragic accident. He fell under a train. And it was very hard for us at home to handle the trauma and to discuss. So I used to ride my bike from school, and I will go to a horse field. And I will sit there for hours thinking the horses will give me some answers and help me and comfort me. And eventually I found out that they were vaulting horses. They were not just horses, they were horses for circus. And eventually I got in and I was able to take care of them and train with them. But this show in particular was for me revisiting the grief that I think I never really went through or decided to revisit. But it's full of so many emotions because it's very personal, but it's also very colorful because as a kid, I always looked at things in a bright way. That's why I use very light colors, but the emotion is very charged because I was trying to process everything, if that makes sense.
You had an opening on April 3rd.
Yes.
How did that go? And then you touched on grief and the symbolism of the horse. Can you kind of tell us more about Reminiscence and how it came to be?
Yeah, of course. It was really amazing to have the response of the people because it's a lot about what they're gonna see, and a lot of them were feeling the simplicity but the emotionally charge of the drawings. And it was very emotional for me. I was happy to release. But a lot of people felt very happy in this space, which I found it very interesting. I didn't know how that was going to come out. I have one of the paintings where you have a little girl sitting down and there's a horse and there's a cord. And it's the last phone call I had with my father before he passed. So I didn't know he was going to go. So I was like, is this too sad? But yeah, some of them, but still through the eyes of a child. So yeah, this exhibition for me is very personal. It's also very uplifting. For me, it's about what is behind death. And, we never talked about this. Nobody wants to talk about death. It's too difficult, right? Yeah. But I was always curious about what was behind. And through the painting, through my art, I try to venture into the invisible world, into the things we can't see or we don't understand. And I try to transcend them in order to heal, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And you brought it to Santa Barbara at the Tamsin Gallery.
Yes.
Real quick, this is our last question. Why don't you tell us what it means for you to have this kind of powerful, kind of taboo, and really emotional kind of work displayed in Santa Barbara at the gallery?
It's a dream. It's my dream. This town, I came here 20 years ago when I was modeling with my mother, actually, who was visiting from France. And I fell in love with Santa Barbara, every corners, every streets, every people. So it's been such a long time I wanted to live here, and eventually I moved here. It's a dream come true. I love the community. I love the people. I love everything about this. So I'm very grateful to have this show here with the Tamsin Gallery and the wonderful space that they offered to me so gracefully. So I'm grateful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're so grateful that you came onto our show to tell us a little bit about this powerful story. And if people want to head on over, they can learn more about your exhibit and other exhibits going on right now at the Tamsin Gallery at tamsingallery.com. Lowen, thank you so much for joining us and for really shedding a light on such a big, important, heavy topic.
Yeah, no problem. Anytime.
All right. Thank you.